We're discussing all things homeschooling now. Did you say that this does bother you?
Yes, I don't like that. That bothers everyone. I don't like writing in chalk either. That makes my skin creep. It's so fun.
I'm at school. I'm supposed to do stuff like that. Can you imagine what I was like?
Yes, I can. I can.
Right, to get us in the mood, we are sitting at our desks and we haven't forgotten to mark out our social distancing squares.
That's it,
so
step
it's
there.
all perfectly legal.
Chalkboard. Right, this is all in honour of our next guest, who's been a real help to me during lockdown. Like many parents, homeschooling for the first time, teaching things like fractions and decimals was slightly daunting, more than slightly in some cases, but then Carol Vorderman came to the rescue.
Well, throughout lockdown, Carol has given parents free access to her online maths tutorials, and she joins us now to tell us more. Hiya, how are you?
Carol.
Good morning. It's lovely to see you behind your desk.
Thank you. When you finished Countdown, you decided to take a bit of a break from the telly, and that's how this all started. You would take your knowledge and put it online.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I read my first science book in 1986. And then I had a production company in the 90s where I made national curriculum GCSE VHS videos, which we sold in Woolies. That long ago, and then books and all sorts of different things. So 10 years ago, I thought I want to put all of this together, all the learning about teaching, and also particularly about my son. So my daughter is very academic. She's Cambridge and finishing a PhD, nanotech and all of that. My son was born with severe special needs. So he'd been in a special school for about 5 years in his primary years. And I learned an awful lot about teaching during that time. So I wanted to put a school together online with this new technology that could teach children at their own pace and yet take them through it rapidly. So one of my feelings behind it is that it's a school that teaches so that no child is ever left behind in their learning, and it's got a lot of kindness in it and fun.
And it is fun. It is good fun. You have been an absolute saving grace in my house, I tell you, because I am useless when it comes to maths, utterly useless. And even the things that I do remember have completely changed. And my kids are going, no, Mum, you don't do it like that. So maths is really tricky for me. So I've been able to pop them on that. And then we've sort of learnt together, actually. And it is fun. There's sort of games and things that you can do. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? With maths, it can be daunting. You need to take some of that fear out of it a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It's called maths anxiety. And with maths, it's sort of a pyramid, really. So if you don't know what are now called number bonds, the numbers that add up to the number 10, for instance, and then you're in your class and your teacher moves on to the next thing, you suddenly start to freeze. And I think about half of children are in that position, which is why half, generally don't pass SATs to the right level and so on and so forth. So what happens with online learning and with my school, the Maths Factor, is that they can watch the Carol videos time and time and time again and then do their practice. Then they can go on and do their funs. They unlock games, as you know, which is like the fun bits, all maths. But it's this essence that they take it at their pace. There's so much love in there, and the children get obsessed with it. I mean, it's been a revelation during lockdown, because normally we charge about £2 a week, and then we decided we'd make it free. So we didn't know what would happen. Nobody knew what would happen with schools being closed. But during that time, we've now had over 500,000 children who've been registered in primary age around the world, actually, now.
And it's free as well. You've done it during lockdown period, very kindly. You made it available to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to start charging for that half price in July. So it will have been 3.5 months by that point when we will have been free. And people are just, the response that we've had from children is fantastic. We've known, because we've been running 10 years, that that's what happens, and they advance so rapidly with us. And they're really funny, particularly in the early years, because when I'm teaching them, the way I've done the videos is I get them to shout out the answers very often. And so they really think that I'm there, you know, live with them. So they start sending me messages and videos via, you know, Twitter or whatever it might be, and it's just fantastic. They're so funny. One little boy, Jacob, is going, "Carol, it's my birthday today, and you haven't sent me a birthday card."
Sweet.
That's so sweet. So you say that. I mean, obviously, maths can be daunting, as you've explained, but there shouldn't be any barriers. That you certainly should be able to learn the basics. But a lot of parents in lockdown have been terrified at the prospect. I mean, I am shocking at maths, and maybe I should have subscribed, and maybe I should have spent a bit of time watching your videos. But you say that your top 3 tips, really, which, did you see what I did then? I said top 3 tips. I held up 4 fingers. That's how bad I am.
Doing well.
You say start with the basics, reward, and take your time.
Yeah, take your time. Like Holly, you said that a lot of the methods that are taught in school, parents didn't learn when they were in school. So you will get around the country this yell from a child saying, "It's not how we do it at school, Mum or Dad." And so it's about that. I mean, I teach the parents as well, and we are setting up more websites and so on to teach parents these new methods. But it's about taking the time. Don't shout. Don't ever say to a child, "Oh, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard," even if you think it is, because it sets that in their head, and it isn't hard. I believe, and I know because we've been doing it for 10 years, that every single child can pass their GCSE. Yeah. Every single child can pass their SATs. Every single child can do well and understand and love maths. I know it because we've done it with hundreds of thousands of children over the years, and it's a joy to have been able to do it during lockdown for so many.
Well, thank you. You've been an absolute huge help, let me tell you. Before you go, I wanted to ask you about the Pride of Britain as well, because, I mean, if more than ever, really, we're looking forward to watching that this year. It's going to be extraordinary, the stories that can be told from this year, that's for sure. It will be back, but it will be different, I imagine?
I would imagine so. We haven't actually decided yet, but normally we have about 1,000 people, as you know, crammed into the Great Room in London, and it is wonderful. I think it should probably last. There've been so many heroes who've shown themselves to us this year already that I think it should last about a week rather than 2 hours. Yeah. But yes, we're not quite sure how it will be, but probably in a different format this year. And then we'll be back to normal, hopefully, next year.
Yeah, I hope so. Carol, thank you.
Thank
it's lovely to see you.
You take care.
See you too.
Thank you.